Hey guys, hi, welcome back once again. My name is Vaishali, and today I'd like to talk about bad news. So, quite a few of us must have heard or must have been hearing that let's not listen to the news because it's all negative, or at least most of it is negative. That generally people in the media or the medium through which the media operates works on our basic instincts, triggers our basic instincts of fear and survival. Many of us must have also heard that it's the negative news or the bad news or the unpleasant news that gathers more attention, thereby giving more mileage to that particular broadcast. That it garners more viewership, that it garners more listenership if it is more spicy, if it is a little more chatpata, if it is not all pleasant all the time. And if that's how most of us at least cognitively think, then how is it possible that we get a lot of bad news when we're growing up? So if you look into the meaning of the word news, it's information that's broadcasted. So how is it then that when we are growing up, when our foundations are being laid, most of us are given so much of bad news, so much of unpleasant news? How is it that many of us get compared to our own siblings or to our friends or to the neighbors' children or even to our own parents? And examples like those have been beautifully depicted and beautifully portrayed in the movies Dear-Zindagi and Sanju. How is it that the information is broadcasted to us that we are plain stupid and dumb? How is it that the information is broadcasted to us that we are irresponsible and will probably amount to nothing? How is it that some of us get labeled as good kids or bad kids? How is it that we get the message that our opinions, our feelings, our thoughts are irrelevant, that they don't really matter? How is it that we feel unheard, unseen, and unworthy of any attention when our voices, when our thoughts, when our feelings have not been addressed, have not been attended to? When they've not been paid attention to, which is where exactly we begin to feel invalidated, which is where we begin to feel unimportant and insignificant as well. How is it that one child gets the message that they are an embarrassment to the parents, that they are the reason that the parents feel ashamed, while the other child probably gets the implied, implicit, unsaid message, unsaid news? Now it's your duty to live up to my expectations or to even outdo my expectations of you. That now you are the torchbearer to remove the shame that I have felt because of one child. That a lot is over expected out of this other child, where one probably feels overburdened and the other feels underappreciated, where one feels over smothered and the other feels abandoned and neglected, which is kind of beautifully depicted in the movie Dear-Zindagi, and which is equally traumatizing for both individuals, for both kids. And many a times the impact of these broadcasted information or the broadcasting of these news on an everyday basis while we are growing up, when we are growing up, when our foundation is being laid, gets so deeply embedded and neglected in us, becoming a part of our subconscious and unconscious beliefs, that many a times we don't even realize that we are carrying them forward into and through our adult lives. And since many of us would have heard the saying that you are what you consume, that you are a representative of the sum total of your environment, I think it's important to pay attention to those early years. So if we truly think and if we truly believe that the news from the screen, from our TV screens, the news that is broadcasted and that we get to read in the newspapers, the news that gets displayed through the social media is primarily more negative and leaves a negative impact on all of us, then should it not come across to all of us, or at least all of the grown up adults, as to how ridiculous it is to think and assume that what we do and say and the way we behave when we are around our youngsters, when we are condescending them, when we are comparing them, when we are putting them down, when we are neglecting them, when we are not paying attention to them, when we are not listening to them, when we are not tuned into them, when we are embarrassing them, when we are shaming them, and even when we are over smothering them, will not have an impact on them. And maybe it's time to reflect on all of those to promote, to enhance a little more self awareness every single time. Because ignorance cannot create awareness, and we really can't change anything till we become aware of it. So let's try and understand through this image, using this image as a metaphor to understand that objects or reflections projected in the mirror are far closer to us than they appear or than they seemingly seem to be. Let's try and become a little more reflective, a little more introspective, a little more self aware to bring about the changes that we wish we had experienced, which would not only enable healthy changes but would also enable healing in a very long run. Let's try and do that for ourselves, and I will see you once again the next week. Till then, stay tuned in. And guys, if you do like the contextual content of these videos, please do like, share, and subscribe.